Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning.
Thank you, phony goat, for choking away Shannon's bet with me. LeBron James, your man, the quote-unquote greatest ever?
Yep.
He made his fourth three with 7.5 minutes left in the third quarter. You only needed a fifth three to win the bet. And he went gag, gag, gag. He went 0 for 3 the rest of the way in regulation and in overtime. Thank you, LeBron.
I just knew I had to hit the first two. I said, I got it. I got it.
Jinxed it. Don't do that. But, get the win there. We have a packed show, guys. A lot happened even in the middle of the night, including the latest between Skip and Kevin Durant. I'm looking forward to Skip's reaction there. But we will start with the Lakers because LeBron and company survived in OT with a 107-104 victory over the Luka Doncic-less Mavs. The King, Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook combined for 67 points, but it was undrafted rookie Austin Reeves who saved the day with a game-winning three to ice the game. So, Shannon, your thoughts. Scale of 1 to 10, how impressive were the Lakers?
A 2.
A 2?
I only gave them a 2, Skip, because they won the game. I mean, let this sink in. Jenny just mentioned it in the read, Skip. The big three, at least all three of them had at least 20 points. LeBron had to play 43 minutes. AD got it going in the second half. Russ hit a three. I don't know where Russ hit this three from, considering how bad he missed the three before he took that one. And then it take a 28-footer from an undrafted rookie to beat the Dallas Mavericks without Luka Doncic? That's not impressive. That's not. The mere fact that LeBron had to play 43 minutes, the mere fact that you're in overtime with a team without their best player, and you have all three of your big guns, and it takes that in order to beat that team. No. Skip, the way LeBron started the game, I was like, oh, yeah, we're going to make quick work of y'all. Got out to a blazing start, hit threes from Brownsville. Later, he going to hit one from Laredo.
Yeah, that's a long way.
That was you saw that when he put the logo in the third.
He logo LeBron.
Yeah, you saw that, didn't you? Okay, I'm glad you saw it.
That only counted 3, though.
Don't worry about it. Just worry about that. And then I was like, okay. And then LeBron kind of like put it in cruise control from there. I didn't think he was as assertive as he was to start the game. And, Skip, I'm perplexed. Something's got to be wrong with AD. There is no way, Skip, you can tell me AD can have more turnovers than points in the first half, and he's perfectly fine. I didn't even recognize him. I'm like, AD, what are you doing? You're right there at the basket. Stop passing it out. Stop trying to get
his knee still aching.
Okay, with the sit down. Just go ahead and take a break because, Skip, if the knee is bothering you and it lingers, it's you don't make injuries. Injuries don't get better by playing a particular sport. I don't care what the injury is. You can't heal it by playing a sport. Take the time off and let's get healthy because this is not good. And then, but just the turnover, Skip. They had 14 turnovers. 10 of them come between Russ and AD. They had 10 of the 14. Skip, that's too many. I can't give that. Like I said, the only reason I gave them a 2 is because they won the game. There was nothing else impressive about this because you needed all of that. You needed heroics. You needed LeBron to play 43 minutes, Russ to play 42 minutes, AD to play almost 40 minutes, and you needed think about what also you got skipping overtime. You needed 2 7-footers to collide together from the Maverick, lose the rebounds. Wayne Ellington gets it, runs to the corner almost like a Ray Allen skip. The only thing is he didn't backpedal. He took it and ran. Pump fakes the guy, hits a 3 just to get you to overtime. And you needed Austin Reeves to hit a 28-footer. And he got fouled, Skip.
He did.
In order to win you the game.
That is correct.
You
didn't need the foul.
No. Skip, but how you missed that foul, Skip? I guess they said,
I don't know. I guess because it went in. You missed it. It's blatant.
It's blatant.
Yeah.
So for me, Skip, they won. I'm going to give them a 2, but that's all I got for you.
I'm going to go you 2 better. I can't muster up any more on the 1 to 10 impress scale than a 0 for this one. I got a 0. I'm sorry.
I thought you give me 2 better. I thought you were going to give me 4. You mean 2 worse.
2 worse. But in my scheme of things, that's 2 better.
Okay.
obviously, there's no Luka Doncic.
No.
He was the, once again, preseason favorite to win the MVP this year, even though he's looking a little heavy. But the point is, if he can't go, and they have a horrendous night from the three-point line, they shoot 27% from three, and they actually made a few late, including one Kleba banker that was as lucky as you can get, because the bank was open and he robbed it.
Yes.
Is what happened. Off the glass from a little bit of a side angle,
right.
But it was straight luck, and it followed up the rush shot that was, you could argue luck, because I gave him like a 2% chance of making. He was 0 for 3, and all three of them had been West bricks.
Yeah, when he shot that, I was like, that's not.
Okay.
It went in.
Okay,
it Russ, I trust.
So as Shaq once said, one lucky shot deserved another.
Yes.
But if I even add that one on to the total, would you believe that the Dallas Mavericks missed 32 three-point shots last night? 32? And it went to the buzzer of overtime?
Yeah.
Well, that's just wrong. If you've got your big three, and AD's numbers aren't horrible, he got slightly outplayed by Porzingis.
Right.
They each had 12 rebounds, but AD had 20 points and Porzingis had 23 points. And look, Dallas won the boards 51-46 without Luka, obviously.
Right.
So that's a bad sign. You did turn it over too many times. That's a bad sign. And yet, let's see what happens, shall we, down the stretch. So obviously, I'm only rooting for my bet. I don't really care whether
They win or
Dallas
lose.
or LA wins or loses. And I kept thinking, surely the Lakers, because you want to talk about couldn't hit the broadside of a Texas barn. They just couldn't. They couldn't connect on anything close to a three-point shot down the stretch of the fourth quarter. So let's see what LeBron did. Let's see his fourth three with 7:31 left in the third quarter, because he was stroking it, man.
Yeah.
I thought, you got this. This is his fourth.
Oh, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one he hit from Brownsville, Laredo area.
That's the one. That's the one that I said,
That's pure.
okay, you got me. I said to myself, Shannon,
Yeah.
you got me.
That's what I was thinking.
Because you bet me he would make at least five
Yes.
threes. And
Yeah.
that made him 4 out of 6, which by LeBron standards, he came in making 35% of his threes.
Right.
And he's a career 34.5% three-point shooter.
Right.
That's a hot night.
Yes.
And usually he can cap it off.
Right.
I'm thinking he'll at least make a couple of more somewhere along the trail. So can we then see what happened through the fourth quarter? Because we have 3 attempts in the fourth quarter. If we could see those, please, from LeBron James. This is to win the bet. To win the bet, I'm thinking, oh, he was leaning a little left and just barely ticked the side of the rim. And then we got another one. LeBron said, I got this one. Ooh, that was nothing but backboard. Ooh, nothing but backboard. And then this is a little bit of a force to win the game. And it was a little long. It wasn't a bad shot, but again, it was heavily guarded by Kleba. So again, but I thought one of those would go down.
Right.
I actually thought the one that was nothing but backboard, when he let it go, I thought, okay, that looked like that was with conviction and authority. And I thought, okay, you got me. That's going to go in. And by the way, the middle shot, the one that hit nothing but backboard, was to they were down one. So that was with 1:21 left. And then 9.1 seconds was the one he sort of had to force up over Kleba, but that was to tie the game.
Right.
Okay, now, you mentioned the Ray Allen shot back in Game 6 of 2013 NBA Finals, when I thought my Spurs surely had the championship in hand, as did most of the Heat fans, because they were pouring
Everybody
out.
was leaving. They were leaving.
Up 5 with
Like
18 seconds left. Are you kidding me? So LeBron took the last shot, right, to tie, and he LeBricked it, and it was a long rebound out to Chris Bosh. I don't know why Tim Duncan wasn't in the game, and he kicks it to Ray, who hits the greatest clutch shot I've ever seen from the corner.
No question about that.
Nothing but net, where he had to make sure he dribbled one time backward to get his feet behind the line. Okay, this had faint memories of that to it, just faint memories, because if we could see what happened then at the end of regulation last night, we got the LeBron shot, and it bounds up, and all of a sudden it's Porzingis and Kleba, and they are fighting for a rebound that they own. It's Dallas's basketball.
Right.
It's one or the other has to come away with it. And if one or the other cleanly comes away with the ball, the game is over and you lose.
All you got to do is, hey, if Kleba or Porzingis says, my ball,
right,
the other one's going to let it go, but they fight like, no, I got it. And AD somehow gets his hands in there and
I don't know. It felt like they just out-wrestled each other for the ball, and it just goes sideways. And then Wayne Ellington.
Watch AD, Skip.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was coming loose by then. But Wayne Ellington had to make the pump fake. It was a sweet shot.
Yes.
I'll give you that. That's the shot of the night by far, because Wayne Ellington saves their bacon with this shot, reminiscent faintly of the Danny Green shot, which was 2 years ago on November 1st at Dallas. Right? Against Luka as a baby bird at that point, right? Okay. So then we go to overtime. If we could then see that we got the shot one more time here. We go to overtime thanks to Wayne Ellington. Way to go. And we've got LeBron did score 2 points in overtime when he just got loose down the lane and dunked it. So I give you that. But that was he was very quiet in overtime. And then if we could see what you brought up, the Russell Westbrook shot from 3 with 24 seconds left, it's just hard to believe that this happened, because when he shot it, I said, there is no way.
I said the same thing.
There is just no way. And he made it.
I mean, that was...
And then one lucky shot deserves another, because Kleba says, well, I'll go you one better. I'll lucky bank this in. And I'm thinking, that is just crazy, which leads us to the final play of the game. I thought, silly me, maybe LeBron could just drive it and get to the foul line, if nothing else. But he gets doubled out high, and he immediately gives it up. And then if we could see how the play unfolded.
I thought they was coming to foul him, Skip.
Yeah.
Because they had a foul to give.
They had a foul to give, and they didn't use it. Yep. And then kick to Russ, and Russ drives it across the lane. And that was, Russ, as an obvious foul. He got knocked out. But Russ usually makes chaotic, bad decisions.
I thought he was going to charge, Skip.
I did too.
Because he left his feet. I was like, Russ, don't leave your feet. Ah, man, come on. Thank you, Tim Hardaway, for turning and running, because you could have drew that charge.
But it wound up being a really good decision by Russ.
Yes.
Which brings me to Austin Reeves, an undrafted rookie grew up in Arkansas, went to the University of Oklahoma. He went to Wichita State first, but I watched him a lot at University of Oklahoma. He can really play, because he'll play both ends. He just plays hard, but I wasn't sure how it was going to translate, because there was a story that the Pistons were interested in drafting him late in the second round, but he said, no, I don't want to be drafted. I'd rather be a free agent. He actually wanted to come to the Lakers and see if he could make it. Kid's got guts. He's got nerve. So the weirdest thing is happening. Last year, down the stretch, it started to feel like Alex Caruso became your closer. Like they were going to Alex Caruso to make shots and plays down the stretch. Well, look what Austin Reeves did last night. He plays
32 minutes.
32 minutes, and he played almost all the fourth quarter and all of overtime. You're kidding me. He's an undrafted rookie, and he feels like he's the safest bet on the floor to me. Well, how weird is that?
Well, we talked about it, Skip, because we just thought, you and I both thought, that he's getting these minutes once some of these guys that are nicked, once they come back, Skip, he's not going to be getting those minutes. Yes, he is.
Because you would think, would he let Carmelo close these games? No, he's fallen out of the closing rotation, right? Melo didn't play, right? Is there anybody else? Maybe
Monk? Maybe that would have been Monk. Monk does get some in the closing rotation.
I know, but it's starting to feel like this is where Frankie V wants to go, to Austin Reeves.
Because to the point what you're making is that he really tries to play both ends of the court. He's basically, I think he's the Caruso. I think Caruso is a better defender, but I think he's a better offensive weapon. Now, obviously, he can't run the offense like Caruso, because they had no problem with Caruso having the ball in his hands, initiating the offense, even with LeBron on the court late in the ball game. So he can't do all that, but his three, he can shoot the ball better than Caruso can. I think Caruso is a better defender.
And what's weird is Austin Reeves wasn't a great three-point shooter in college.
No.
I don't know, but he's stroking them like he really means it.
He does, Skip, and I think the thing is, when you come with LeBron, you know you're going to be wide open, because that's why he threw the ball to Russ. There's nobody even close to Russ. So he's like, and the thing is, Skip, I'm like, Brian, why would you pass the ball to Russ after you just saw him miss the whole rim by like 14 feet? And LeBron come right back to he forgot that Russ just threw up an air ball right back to the corner, and Russ forgot that he threw up an air ball. Russ would have made a heck of a corner. Because Russ you beat Russ for a touchdown skill. He
has no memory. No memory. I agree with that. That is correct.
That didn't happen. Yep. And he just shoots it. He shot that with conviction.
He did.
Bang, right at the bottom of the net.
He did. So Austin Reeves is fearless. He looks like he believes he could play when he stepped on the floor. And he talked last night after the game about being in Las Vegas and trash talking LeBron because he won't take anything off anybody.
Right.
He is in awe of LeBron and Melo and AD and all the rest. He's in awe of Dwight and Rondo, and he says all the right things. But on the floor, he and Caruso share this. They play hard and they play smart.
Right.
And you can trust them to do the right thing, except there was one play, there was a timeout earlier in overtime where LeBron just lit him up in the sideline huddle for blowing a defensive rotation. But the kid doesn't, it doesn't bother him at all. In fact, he said, I welcome that. And I believe he does because it doesn't bother him.
Think about this, Skip. You're an undrafted rookie. And in the closing rotation with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, you're in that rotation. How much confidence must they have to have in you? Russ threw him the ball. Russ could have taken the shot. He was right there at the rim. He threw him the ball. We've seen LeBron pass him the ball. Skip, like Caruso was out there, he's like, man, I must be okay. I'm in the closing lineup. That says something.
Who knew? And LeBron's already nicknamed him AR-15. He's AR-15. So we got MJ-10 up in New England. But we got AR-15 at Staples, right?
Yes.
AR-15? Really? Interesting. So two undrafted white guys are your closers now. They're your most dependable cog down the stretch.
Yeah. But there's a play that goes unnoticed, Skip, and I don't know if you saw it. They had a 2-on-1. And Wayne Ellington, busts his butt to get back and knocks it out.
He stopped it.
Those are the kind of plays, Skip, that don't show up in the box score. It doesn't show up anywhere. But you understand, and I guarantee you when they show film today, if they show it today or tomorrow, they're going to say, these are the type of plays that leads to win. But I know you saw what LeBron James was doing. Skip, Jim, do we got any of that footage? I want to show you what GOAT is. Now, this man is about a week and a half away from his 37th birthday. Can we see this, Jim? You got it? I want you to watch this, Jenna. I heard a little birdie say he might enter the dunk contest. He might.
And Cleveland with a foul. First foul on Cleveland.
Got 37.
Did you see that?
Mark Jackson
How old is that guy
about
again?
that one.
Gonna be 37.
You see how they looking at it? They amazed. Look at this, Skip.
I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. That's a 37-year-old dude.
And by the way, he hurt his ankle on the play. So maybe he should be a little more careful at 42. 37
He
years
was
old.
up so high, Skip. Because normally when you go up, you're like, okay, I'm about to come down. But when you up too high, you're like, I'm not down yet. Did you see the one they called goaltending? And he hit his head, almost gave himself a concussion, hitting his head on the backboard. Here it is right here, Skip. This is not a goaltending. You know it, Skip. You know it.
I thought he goaltended.
No, you didn't.
I thought the ball was starting to come down.
Oh, LeBron,
the ball had reached its peak and was
Skip,
starting
look at
to come
this.
down.
That's
it's
over.
coming down.
Skip.
The ball is coming down.
That is over the square.
I give you the leap, but I don't give you the not a goaltend. It's a goaltend.
No.
They called it correctly. Yep.
Not in the house of the GOAT.
Okay, look.
Not in the house. He hit it with it, Brian. Not in the house of the GOAT.
I'm just glad he didn't turn his ankle on that play because you know how you get a little older and you try something, you say, I can't do that anymore. That was like that sort of tomahawk that he did, and it's like, be careful because you turned your ankle.
You know that commercial with the Mutombo? No.
Yeah. Okay, so you're saying LeBron has turned into Mutombo?
I didn't say anything. I'm just saying y'all need to stop trying to challenge this man at the rim.
He is 6'9"
Don't do that,
tall.
Skip. No, hold on. But what about that scout knew he was 6'9"? Athleticism. He doesn't have it anymore.
Well, the problem is what I think the scout was saying, he can't sustain it because everything you showed happened earlier.
Yeah.
So later, then he goes quiet in the fourth quarter. Do I have my fourth quarter box here? He just kind of quiet in the fourth. He was 2 of 7, but he was 0 for 3, as I showed you, from 3 for 4 points. He did not impact the game late, and then in overtime he went really quiet because he just took one shot, a dunk, and it was an easy dunk, and scored 2 points in overtime. Well, I don't know. He starts to run out of gas sooner than he used to.
Well, of course he is going to run out of gas sooner than he used to. And the thing is, he's having to exert himself earlier. A lot of times LeBron was just like, okay, I'm going to find my way. I'm going to let you guys get this thing going. But because of AD's inefficiency early in the ball game.
Yep.
He had to exert himself more than he probably wanted to, considering AD only had 4 points in the first half of the ball game.
Yep.
He had almost as many fouls as he had points, and he had more turnovers than he had points. So LeBron is having to exert himself. And Skip, I mean, the dude played all the fourth quarter. He's 43 minutes.
Okay.
LeBron should have played at max. LeBron should have played 30 minutes last night against the Mavericks without Luka. Max, I'm saying the absolute max he should have played.
Okay, so your Lakers are now 16-13, and I look back at the 16 wins. I can't find a signature where I say, oh, okay, I see that. Like, that's that team we thought it would be, right? Do you remember any game in the 16 wins? Because even some of the wins, like they beat Miami in overtime at home, but there was no Jimmy Butler. And then you keep going to, they beat Boston, they got revenge on Boston at home, and there was no Jaylen Brown. And then last night, they beat the Mavericks at Dallas with no Luka.
Well, hold on. When they was losing games without LeBron, you didn't say that. You didn't say they losing these games without LeBron.
Well, you did.
I don't need to say
you.
No, you.
Because you drive it home.
No, you. Now you want to talk about who was missing with these other teams. You didn't talk about who was missing when they were losing.
I know, but when you're talking about without LeBron, you lost to Oklahoma City twice without LeBron.
Okay.
Well, wasn't that why LeBron said we need Russell Westbrook?
What? Hey, LeBron can't be responsible for things that he's not a part of.
Well, he was a part of that.
He wasn't there.
He chose Russ, and Russ let him down.
Well, Russ and AD didn't do what they needed to do in that ball game. That's not on LeBron.
God, in the end, last night, the Lakers looked like just some mediocre NBA team.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to fight you on that? No. Because they are.
Well,
that's what they are, Skip.
Well, if they have the GOAT and the best player on the planet, you should be a little better than that.
They should be a lot better than that.
Yep.
But, hey, and I loved it. You see how they celebrated? Don't water on Reeves' head? I love that.
Did you really?
I did.
Huh.
You didn't love it?
Austin Reeves?
Yes.
It has come to this?
Hold on, time out.
Austin Reeves?
Hey, if you don't mind me asking, I'm glad you said that. Can you tell me who walked it off for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, you just told me yesterday the guy had been a part of 5 teams. He was a first-round draft pick. They mobbed him on the field.
Okay, but at least he was a mid-first-round draft pick. At least he ran a 4.25 40 coming out of UCF.
All that being said, this is his 5th team.
We're talking about Perriman, obviously.
Sharpe Perriman.
Okay. Yep. Okay, I got it. I don't know what's been wrong with him, but GOAT, the real GOAT, said, I kind of like that kid.
And what did he do? He threw him the ball, and what did they do? They mobbed him. That's what you do. You get excited when your teammates, no matter where they were drafted, no matter where they came from, you get excited for them.
Okay, but it's much harder for Austin Reeves to make a 3 to win the game than it is for Perriman to catch a little shallow cross and just turn it up and say, nobody's home, I'm gone.
No, but I'm saying the excitement that they showed in both situations, I think that's the thing that makes sports great, is that when you're generally excited for your teammates.
Okay, I get that. I think they think, God, we got a godsend. We got Austin Reeves.
Ain't nobody think he got no godsend.
I don't know. That's actually.
They ain't think man got no godsend. Ain't nobody said the man gonna be Draymond.
Well, he took the king off the hook last night.
Oh, my God. Hold on. Patty Mills just did that the night before. You didn't mention that.
We're not talking about Patty Mills.
No. He's a godsend. He took Kevin Durant off the hook, right?
Well, listen, Patty Mills used to take Tim Duncan off the hook, and Manu off the hook, and Tony Parker off the hook, and Popovich off the hook.
But that's not what you never said that before.
Okay, Austin Reeves has never taken anybody off the hook, but if they just come up with one rebound, the GOAT is the quote-unquote GOAT of the game, as in the reason they lost.
Well, that's all Toronto had to do was get one stop. And what would have happened? You see, don't do that, Skip.
Toronto? Oh, at Brooklyn.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then who took over in the...
How do you get an opportunity? How many points did he have in the fourth quarter? You kept showing LeBron.
He went 0 for 5, but then what happened with the money in the middle of the table? In the middle of the table, he made 3 straight mid-range jump shots. LeBron in the overtime went completely deadly quiet.
I remember now. You just told me in Indiana when LeBron missed the shot, and then all of a sudden he took the game over. You didn't give him credit for that.
I did.
Why did he take the game over? It should have never been to overtime.
Well,
so you should have never got to overtime.
The NBA gave him credit. They fined him.
There you go. Hey, we gonna do it again too.
Yeah.
We got another celebration coming.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I hope it's not R-rated.
Yeah, it's gonna be triple R-rated.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Kevin Durant, I'd like to speak on him right now.
No mercy.
So earlier this week, after a win against the Pistons, Skip tweeted, "The best player on the planet was at it again tonight in Brooklyn, going assassin in overtime for the COVID rock Nets. Nothing like Kevin Durant. You watch Bron?" Well, KD saw this on his timeline, replied, quote, "I really don't like you." Skip, your response to KD.
Shannon Sharpe. Yep. When I first heard of this yesterday, I laughed, and then I laughed some more, because Kevin Durant has tried to do this to me several times before, dating back to 2012. And this time, I'm sorry, Kevin, I'm not going to take your bait. I'm not going to fall into the trap you want me to fall into, because this is what you need and what you want. What have I said about Kevin Durant from the start? He can be as strange off the court, especially on social media where he's had burner accounts before, as he is great on the court. And dare I say, it occurred to me, Shannon, last night that this weird strategy of Kevin's is, dare I say, Jordan-esque, because what do we know about Michael Jeffrey Jordan? He constantly fabricated beefs with rival players and coaches that didn't even exist to whip himself into a competitive frenzy before games. Well, that's what's operating here with Kevin, because, and again, I do think he's on his way to becoming the greatest player we've seen since Michael Jordan. But what did I learn back in 2012 when he took his first shot at me and just blindsided me? That he needs to motivate himself by creating some sort of controversy, this feud with media members, especially those who actually love him the most. And I dare say, I dare you to find anybody in the media who since 2006 have supported and backed and loved Kevin Durant more than I have. Can you find anybody? Would you know anybody out there? You won't. I say nothing negative about him except the off-the-court, bizarre, strange social media behavior, which is completely beneath his dignity, because he is the thinnest skinned superstar I've ever seen. But the reason I don't condemn him for it is because he uses that weirdly to fuel himself in the biggest of games and on the biggest of stages against LeBron in those back-to-back finals in Game 3s in LeBron's palace. Kevin Durant took the game over. He won Finals MVP with the weight of the NBA world on his shoulders, with everybody wanting him to fall on his face because he left Russell Westbrook high and dry in Oklahoma City after they had a 3-1 lead over those Golden State Warriors. He went and joined forces with them. I didn't have any problem with that. What I had a problem with starting back in 2012 was, and again, I'm from Oklahoma City, so I know all about the Thunder. I know a lot of people inside the organization. In 2012, Russell Westbrook was starting routinely to take more shots in games than Kevin Durant. And it drove me crazy, because I had said back to his year at Texas in 2006, I was on Cold Pizza, and I regularly said on national TV, this kid at Texas is going to win multiple NBA scoring titles. And they laughed at me. Jay Crawford and Woody Page and other people on the show just laughed at that kid, that skinny. Yeah, wait and watch and see. Well, I think I was proven right about that. And that night in 2012 that Kevin Durant heard what I'd said that day on First Take, 2012, he calls over the Oklahoma City reporter from the Oklahoman and blasts me saying, I don't know anything about basketball, because I was saying that Russ was taking more shots than Kevin, and I did not like it. Help me out. Why ultimately did Kevin leave Oklahoma City? One reason and one reason only, Russell Westbrook. Am I right? Mm-hmm. So what has been our constant theme on this show for 6 years? Have I not said that for at least the last 4 years, Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet? How many times have I told you that on this show, right? Mm-hmm. Was my tweet the other night glorifying Kevin to the heavens, right? I can't heap any more praise on him, but guess what? Kevin can't stand that. He hates it that I love him too much because it scares him. It shakes him up. He needs fuel. He needs to create a controversy, a drama. He needs a feud with me to fuel him in big games. And we have a big one coming up on Christmas Day here at Staples Center against your Los Angeles Lakers. So he wants to bite the hand that feeds him. He wants to have me firing back at him to motivate him. And I'm not going to do it this time. I did it last time in 2012. I was hurt by that. I went on TV that day and said, Kevin, how could you do that to me of all people? I'm only supporting you. Well, guess what? I still believe he's the best player on the planet. I still believe he's edged ahead in the MVP race right here, right now, and I'm going to stand by what I said. I'm going to love him to death. It was so ironic because MJ loved me for loving him. He loved that. And to this day, he respects me because from the start, I defended MJ when I was in Chicago at the Chicago Tribune. Kevin is the flip side of that.
What was there to defend about MJ?
Well,
he was great. He never made a mistake.
A lot of people
he never
didn't
lost
like
a game.
A lot of people didn't like the way he handled himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have never guessed that about Last Dance. But go ahead.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, that's what I did. I have any trouble with The Last Dance? No, and I was way ahead of that curve when I was in Chicago writing about it. No problem with any of this off the court stuff, okay? Or how he motivated his team and how he treated his teammates. Okay, so you ask, I answer.
Okay.
So now I'm going to heap nothing but more praise on Kevin because I don't need his silly feuds to motivate Kevin because I don't think he really needs any more motivation. I think he's the best player in the world, period, without me or you or anybody else that he has attacked in the media.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, I think we're kind of taking the bait because you're responding to something that he said, and I was hoping that we would let it lie and then it would just blow over and go away.
Well, I'm not going to let that lie.
Why?
Well, I'm just not.
But
I'm not running for anybody.
Oh, no.
So I just laid it on the table.
No, but
I just put him on the couch right here, and I told you what motivates him. I'm going to tell you what the underlying motivation seriously is.
Well,
so I resent that you would say that to me on this show.
Skip,
I'm not running.
Skip, it's not about running. You say all the time, why would athletes respond? So why would you respond? It's the flip side. Why would you respond to something KD said if it
Because
doesn't
I don't want to look like on the show that I'm afraid of him. And by the way, I've invited him on the show 1,000 times, and I invite him now. If he's out for Christmas time, if he wants to come sit right here, I would love that.
Okay,
I would love to pick his brain and put him on the literal couch here.
Let me explain. Let me give you a little glimpse inside to a side of an athlete. And I don't, like I said, I've never met Kevin Durant before in my life. But let me try to explain what I think is going on with Kevin Durant. When you heap praise on him, and then if you just heap praise on him, I don't believe he would have responded to you. But when you said, did you see that LeBron, he views that as you're trying to pit him against LeBron, and he wants no part of that.
Okay, but I'm saying he's better than LeBron.
Okay, Skip, you could have said what you said and not put LeBron in it. The moment you put LeBron in it, I had a feeling that this was going to come back because he views
it. You did?
Skip, contrary to what you think.
You're saying he's afraid of LeBron?
No, see, there you go.
Well, I don't know.
It's always somebody's got to be afraid because they don't want to take a shot at somebody. You feel they're afraid of them. The man have the utmost respect for LeBron. Contrary to what you and others think, a lot of the great players have profound respect for LeBron.
You can have respect for him and think you're better than him.
But see, that's not what you're thinking. You're trying to pit, he views it as you're trying to pit him against LeBron.
Time out. What do we do on this show every single day? Time out. It's my turn. We go talking about LeBron James versus Kevin Durant for best player on the planet. So if I'm tweeting at night, everything is in the context of Undisputed. Trust me, Kevin Durant watches Undisputed. He knows what the pet theme, the central theme of the show is. Kevin Durant is better than LeBron James. What am I going to tweet? You watch this, LeBron? Because that was a sensational display. They were down to 4 rookies playing with Kevin Durant, and even you agreed with me on the show yesterday. That was an MVP-type performance, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why wouldn't I tweet that? We pit them against each other every single day for the last 4 years on this show.
Yes.
That's all we do. We have talked about those two against each other more than any two against each other in all of our time together.
You see, you're saying when you tweet something from your account, it's in reference to Undisputed. He sees that coming from your personal account. You're not on the show. You have to understand.
He knows what the theme of the show is. He watches. Trust me.
But you're not on the show. You're on your personal Twitter account.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not.
I'm a connection of that.
But Skip, that's how you see it. You can't automatically assume how somebody else sees it.
Okay, so what? I don't care. Like, I don't care about that.
I'm going to leave it like this, and then you can go with.
I can't glorify him any more than to say, you are the MVP. I've never seen anything like you. And hey, LeBron, were you watching this? Because I have to put up with you every day trying to tell me that LeBron James is the best player in the history of this game. It's just hilarity to me. It drives me crazy. So again, every chance I get, I'm going to cut that down. And I cut it down there.
I'm going to say this, and then you can go wherever you want to. He views it as when you said that Russ was taking more shots at him. He views that at the time as a family member. He can say he might have thought whatever he wanted to think, but you can't say that about a family member. You might be able to say something. You can talk to Ernestine a certain way. Somebody else can't. That's the same with Kevin Durant. That's the same with teammates and how they view it. Okay. That is a family member.
And I said that the next day on First Take. I said, I give you this, Kevin. I respect the fact that you're trying to protect your little brother on your team. Okay. And they were going strong at that point. But more and more, as the year wore on, Russell ended up taking more shots that year than Kevin did. It was wrong, and Kevin knew I was right about it. And I resented the fact that he said I don't know anything about basketball because I didn't play, because the guy who put the team together and who picked them, a guy named Sam Presti, did he play basketball at a high level? I don't think so, right? Okay, so all the guys who put these teams together, Daryl Morey and R.C. Buford, they didn't play basketball, right? So what do they know? They must not know anything either. So my point was I right in the end about what I said about Russ versus Kevin Durant?
Yes.
I was dead right.
I think the thing, as the years went on, KD started to see that this is not going to work. That was in 2012. He didn't end up leaving till 2017. So as years started to wear on, maybe he thought, you know what? He hears the criticism. Russ hears the criticism. Maybe he'll change his ways. Once after 5 years, he didn't see any change. He realized that it wasn't going to change. So, but for me, Skip, I just think the thing is Kevin Durant knows who he is. I don't think Kevin Durant needs outside forces to motivate him. I think he came from Prince George County. I think in the D.C. area. I think here's a guy from a single parent home, raised his brother, and she did an unbelievable job. Kevin Durant is very motivated, highly motivated. But Kevin Durant is wired differently, Skip. He's not, Kevin Durant wants to hoop. That's what Kevin Durant, I don't think Kevin Durant has enemies. Kevin Durant doesn't need, maybe Kobe needed that. Maybe Jordan needed that. Maybe some of the other guys needed that. Kevin Durant can go out there and shake everybody's hand, be cool with everybody, and still go drop 50 on your head, and then shake your hand and hug, hey, bro, good game, good hoop. That's he's different.
He knows himself so well that he had burner accounts so he could fire back at nobodies on Twitter. You like that? Is that knowing yourself? That's not knowing yourself. This is the man who won the MVP of this league, and the next year went to New York for the All-Star game, and on All-Star Friday, with the assembled media from around the world, in a big media session, he told every reporter there, you guys don't know, you know that word, about basketball. You guys don't know bleep about basketball. The same guys who voted for him for MVP. And you think Kevin knows who he is? I think he's lost. But it works on the court because if he gets enough feuds going, enough fuel for his fire, it weirdly motivates him to take it up another level.
You do realize the man won 4 scoring titles and no media member had anything bad to say. Kevin Durant came from where he came from, was very motivated, and hearing him talk, he says he couldn't understand how guys weren't working as hard as he was working, were still better than he was. It wasn't until as he started to age, he put in even more and more time that he became what you started to see today. Agreed. So I believe Kevin Durant is very motivated. I don't believe he needs outside forces to take him to a place that he can get to without. Now, I could be wrong, but I just think Kevin Durant and a lot of these guys have profound respect for LeBron. And they view it as when somebody says, tag them, says, okay, this guy's better than LeBron, they feel that you're trying to pit them against, even though I get what you're saying. You're tweeting, when you tweet from your account, it's all in reference to, cause might be something that we talk about later on this show. But that you have to understand how you see it and how they see it isn't the same. It's just like when you tweet something, sometimes saying what you mean it to be and how somebody perceives it to be is entirely different. That's all I'm saying, Skip. That's it.
Yet he's done this with all sorts of media members, all the way up to Charles Barkley sitting on that seat on Inside the NBA, when he just dissed him by dismissing him with a one-word answer and just left Charles hanging.
Skip, athletes are like that. What does Tom Brady do? You remember when Tom Brady had his thing and he had what I had said on this show? This is not unique to Kevin Durant.
Okay, but Brady rarely has done that.
But he did it. But Skip, but that doesn't mean because that was the first time that we actually seen him put it on in context as far as in a video or YouTube or his documentary. But don't think anytime someone says something negative about a player, if they don't hear it, someone close to them hears it. Be it friends, family, agents, someone hears it. Did you hear what X said about you? Okay. And I just believe Kevin Durant has heard this before, but he looks at it as you trying to pit him against another player. Okay. And he wants no part of that.
Okay. I don't care about any of that. I only care about how he responds to the biggest challenges of his career. And in the biggest moments, with the world waiting for him to fall on his face, at Cleveland twice, he became the MVP of 2 straight finals. And in the biggest moments of the Olympics, he took over and carried us to gold. And it was all him.
He's a great player. So did you think what you said about him in 2012 had some bearing on 2017 and 18?
Well, he uses these feuds. How many have we talked about on this show? It's one thing after another with him. And sometimes they get very personal. He has not gotten personal with me. Not yet. Maybe he will today. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, we addressed it. We addressed the Katie situation, and we need to now address what happened in the middle of the night last night. The Jaguars have parted ways with head coach Urban Meyer after only 13 games in his first season with the team. Jacksonville went 2-11 during his tenure, and various reports of Urban's locker room demeanor and disconnect with players led owner Shad Khan to release a statement early this morning saying, quote, after deliberation over many weeks and a thorough analysis of the entirety of Urban's tenure with our team, I am bitterly disappointed to arrive at the conclusion that an immediate change is imperative for everyone. So, Shannon, when you woke up this morning, you read the headlines, your reaction to this news?
Skip, I think the writing was on the wall, but I'm not surprised at this. I was one of the few guys that didn't believe that this situation could work. Skip, I've never met Urban. I don't really know who he is. I know he used to work for us, but I don't know him. But talking to people that know him very well and that's been around him, I say it's going to be a challenge for him. I say because University of Florida and Columbus, Ohio is entirely different than an NFL because you're dealing with 18 and 19-year-olds. And in the NFL, you're dealing with grown men that have wives and kids and pay a mortgage. You can't talk to them like you talk to a teenager because the teenager is trying to get to where that 28-year-old is already at. So, Skip, and when you look at some of the things he did, he brought that same mentality to Jacksonville that he had at Florida, that he had at Ohio State, that I'm the head football coach, and I can do what I want to do. Skip, he hired a guy that had gotten fired for allegations of racism and bullying. He hired him.
His strength and conditioning.
Chris Doyle.
Yep.
Why would you do that, Skip? And I told you, I said, Skip, the Tebow thing is going to be a problem. I said, guys in that locker room says, hold on, this guy hadn't played in 8-9 years. You switch his position to give him a chance to make the ball club. I said, Skip, that's going to be a problem. We find out that they lose on a Thursday night game to Cincinnati. He doesn't fly back after all coaches, what they say, Skip, we're a team, we're family. We win together, we lose together. Well, they lose, y'all take y'all sorry butt back to Jacksonville. I'm going to stay up here. That wasn't a very good look.
Totally agree.
And then we hear about how he's berating coaches about their resume and how, hold on, you read everybody's resume that you hired. So if their resume isn't up to par, what does that say about you? Because you hired them.
Good point.
And then you hear Trevor Lawrence over the last week, Skip. I had never heard this before. I had never heard a star quarterback say, I want this guy on the field. This guy should be on the field.
James Robinson.
As a guy that's out there, I have a better vantage point to see what's going on.
Because he had been doghouse for fumbling. Yep.
He needs to be on the field. Mm-hmm. And then Trevor Lawrence, I think 2 days ago, said there's a lot of chaos going on. There's a lot of turmoil going on. There's some going on in college, and I get it. There's some going on in all NFL teams, but I think there's too much, and we need to get this cleaned up. And then it came out yesterday that he had actually kicked a player. And it's
an allegation by the
No. Jacksonville General Counsel said, we reached out to the representative and asked, because why would you reach out if you thought it was just an allegation if it wasn't true? And he tried to play it down. But come to find out, Mr. Khan had to know about this. And I think what's most upsetting about Mr. Khan is that over time, as he thought, because he said at the time, Skip, he was very disappointed in some of the things that Urban had done. And he was disappointed that over a period of time since then, there haven't seemed to have gotten better. And so he didn't really have a choice, but I just don't understand, Skip. What would possess you? Skip, you wouldn't even kick a dog. What would possess you to pick your feet up and put your foot on that man? But good thing it was a kicker. Because if you catch the right guy on the wrong day, he'd have beat the brakes off of Urban Meyer. Because you already know what Shannon Sharpe did. You put your feet on me? That's embarrassing, Skip.
But most kickers probably wouldn't respond that way.
But, Skip, why would you even kick?
He also allegedly verbally abused him while he was kicking him.
And then come to find out, and he said, don't you ever kick me again? And he said, Urban says, well, I can do what I want. I'm the ball head. Really? Skip, this is... We knew it. Everybody, he's going to be Jimmy. He's going to be Jimmy. And even Jimmy said, I think Urban's going to be fine. Skip, everybody can't be Jimmy. Jimmy was a very unique individual. Very unique. Jimmy was firm, but, you gotta understand those are grown men, Skip. A grown man sees things different. He sees himself as equal, even with the head coach, even though you're an authority figure. I've seen coaches fight. If you think just because you're in that authoritative position, I don't think a college kid would ever fight a head coach or a position coach. I've seen it happen in the NFL. Because if you think you can talk to somebody, who you think you're talking to? Wah. My bad. Okay. But Skip, the writing's been on the wall for a long time. I don't think this caught anybody by surprise.
Okay. I do know Urban Meyer. I must admit, I like Urban Meyer. I must admit that I thought this would work because I did see some Jimmy Johnson and Urban Meyer. And I know all about Jimmy in his first couple of years in Dallas because I was there covering the team and I wrote books about this. So I was shocked at how south this went, how quickly, because it really had nothing to do with the actual performance on the field of the football team because they actually pulled off a couple of wins that made me sit back and say, that was pretty good.
Without this outside stuff, Skip, you got to realize Jimmy went 1-15 and Jerry stuck with him. It's not like they won a whole bunch of games in 1990, Skip. It wasn't like they won. So I believe without all this, but without all this outside stuff, I believe Mr. Khan would have given him 2 or 3 years to turn this around.
No doubt about it. So they beat Miami 23-20 in London, remember? And Miami has caught fire and now looks like pretty good team. So that looks more and more like a pretty good win, right?
Beat
Buffalo 9-6. That looks like a great win. So those 2 wins are really good compared to what Jimmy did. He went 1-15. They did beat Doug Williams at Washington with Steve Walsh, who was the other #1 pick in the supplemental draft. Okay, so it wasn't even Troy beating Doug Williams in the rival, then called the Redskins, obviously, but Washington.
Football team.
But the point was, they really struggled. And trust me on this, a lot of these same things were happening in turmoil around the team all through there because the veterans were rebelling against Jimmy, who the first game, he wanted a bus for the offense and a bus for the defense. And the
that's kind of like college. That's college thing.
Okay, that's a college thing. And like Everson Walls and guys I knew, the veterans were like, Jimmy, we don't do that. We don't need to have 2 buses. It's a college thing. So there are all kinds of clashes going on. There's all sorts of stuff going on behind the scenes, but there was no social media. So it didn't get out there, right? And so with Jerry Jones backing him, because Jerry was his road roommate in college because they were in alphabetical order, Jones and Johnson, right? Okay, so you had that going for you. And to your point, without all this extracurricular craziness, this chaos going on that's all indefensible, every bit of it indefensible, you'd say, well, you did okay. You're 2-11. You'd be on course to win 4 next year and 7 the next year. Maybe it'd start to turn into something, right? But where he lost me was with the Tebow situation. I told you, I still believe in Tim Tebow, even at 34, just as a playmaker, just as a force that you want in your locker room, just for his leadership, his charisma level, whatever. But you have to have a Taysom Hill package. And you were the first to jump on, he's no tight end. And I said, no, he's not a tight end. I'm pretty sure he's just going to be like a wildcat back for a 3rd and short or goal line. Just a package where he might get 4 or 5 plays a game that could help turn the game in your favor just on his energy and emotion. Okay, that's what we saw way back in 2011 in Denver. We saw him take a 1-14 to a division title, but he's been out of football for 6 years, and he's never even thought about catching a pass in a game. well, that's insane. And then, wait a second. I kept waiting for, surely you got a hidden Taysom Hill? No, there's none. He cuts Tim Tebow, his dear friend Tim Tebow, his neighbor in Jacksonville, Tim Tebow, on the first cut. And he kept 4 other tight ends on the roster because Tim was worse than all 4 of them, and they weren't very good.
But Skip, we knew, like you said, okay, my thing was, okay, if you want to do a wildcat package or you want to play him at quarterback, list him as a quarterback, let him get reps as a quarterback.
Absolutely.
He's not a tight end.
Well, what did he do with Tim when he was a freshman at Florida with Chris Leak as the starting quarterback?
He found a package. He found a way to get him on the
jump pass occasionally, that sort of thing, and they won a national championship. Okay, and then it's one thing after another, and obviously the inappropriate video. Well, then now you got a real problem, and Mr. Khan is saying, you're going to have to win my trust back. And then this happened, and that happened, and this happened. And then there's that bombshell story about how he was berating his staff and then the problems.
But you hired them, Skip. That wasn't somebody filled your staff, like a staffing company filled your staff. You hired all those guys. You interviewed all those guys, Skip.
Okay? And you can't shift blame. It comes across to the fans like you're just pointing fingers. It's their fault.
It ain't me. Hey, y'all know
I'm just the head coach.
I went in Florida, went in Ohio State. Y'all know my resume.
Okay.
So we're not with, but here's, and Skip, you have to understand also, things are a lot different as far as coaching. When you first started, coaches would grab a player by the face, man, shake him, son, and shove him and do all kind of things. You probably could do that. I mean, the things that Dan, when I first got into the league, Dan would yell. I'm like,
hey, your coach, Dan Reeves, was a tough guy because I covered him in Dallas.
I'm like,
he was as old school tough as they come because that's how he played football.
And you walking on eggshells. You like, is that how they talk to people? So I get it.
Dan Reeves has a good heart, though.
He was Skip. He was great. He a great man.
Thank you.
He made me a better player. He believed in me. But Skip. But as time evolved, you have to evolve with the times. You can't do it like that in college. Ask Coach Saban. Coach Saban bombed out in Miami.
What happened?
And talking to Ronnie Brown, who's a friend of mine, that was you're like, bro, he was trying to run that ship like a college. And they're like, nah, bro, this ain't going to work.
Do it. In college, obviously, you are the king of the kingdom. It is your way or the highway. And these kids are going to come and they're going to go because they're going to be gone in 3 or 4 years. Not so much in pro football. Okay, so you have to adapt. And Urban was struggling to adapt with not only the times, but the system, the situation.
He's in Florida. He's probably the most popular man in Florida when he was at the University of Florida. He's probably the most popular person in the state of Ohio when he was at Ohio State. Kind of like Coach Saban. Is there anybody more popular in Alabama than Coach Nick Saban?
Not at the moment.
So Urban just needed to understand is that give up some of that control, but you got to be, I think the biggest thing, you got to be a people person. A lot of people don't like Coach Belichick, but they say that, he's very cutthroat, Skip, but he has a personable side. He's funny behind the scenes. He'll crack jokes. He has a good, Randy Moss swears by him. A lot of guys swears by Coach Belichick, even though they know the callousness of him.
They do.
But I'm not surprised by this because I thought it would just by hearing by people talk about how he was at Ohio State and Florida. I was like, that's not going to work in an NFL team. That's not going to happen.
You were correct about that. And I believe that Urban is still considered part of the Fox family because he was great on TV here. And I would certainly welcome him back if it ever came to pass.
Hey, go coach.
Yep.
I mean, if he still has that desire, that passion to coach, we know he can coach, Skip. College might be everybody that's an OC doesn't mean they're going to be a great head coach. Rex Ryan was as great a defensive coach as there is, Skip. But the head coaching thing, Wade Phillips the same way. We've seen that. Maybe college is where he needs to be if that's what he still wants to do. I'm sure if he wants to come back and do college football with Reggie and Matt and those guys, Brady Quinn, Fox would love to have him back. Hey, we would love to have him back. But if he wants to coach, he can get a good job.
Well, it's going to be tough for a while because there's some ugliness to this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he would be a slam dunk hire right now.
Give it a year.
Yeah.
Give it a year, Skip.
Yep.
All very interesting. Not surprised by the decision that he was fired, but surprised it didn't work. I am surprised at this point.
No mercy.
Earlier this week, guys, Jerry Jones acknowledged Dak Prescott being in a slump as he's thrown just 8 touchdowns along with 6 picks in the last 6 games for Dallas. But lead Fox NFL analyst and former Cowboy Troy Aikman is optimistic about the team, saying, quote, "I just don't feel like this team has yet played a complete game." So an optimist would say that's really good, and I still like this team and Dak and what they have on offense. I'm probably less concerned than a lot of other people are. Shannon, do you believe we still haven't seen the best of the Cowboys?
No. I mean, what's to say that we haven't seen their best? We keep saying, well, oh, they can play better. How do we know? What have we seen?
Now, what do you see?
This is what we've seen, Skip. We've seen Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys go into 3 games this year where their quarterback was decidedly better than Dak Prescott. The Bucs, the Chargers, and the Chiefs. All the other teams that they played, Dak goes into the game. He's the better of the quarterbacks.
Unless you want to still throw Matt Ryan in there.
No, I don't think Matt Ryan is better than Dak.
MVP.
But
what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
He's 1-2 in those ball games. He loses to Brady. He loses to Mahomes. He beats Justin Herbert. I just don't know. And plus, Jerry says he's in a slump. I need somebody to show me when a top-tier quarterback has had a slump in year 6. I understand a bad game, but I want to know, did Favre and Rodgers and Brady and this one or that one? I need you to show me. In year 6, Skip, I'm not talking about a first or a second year quarterback. I'm talking about a quarterback in year 6 that's making $40 million a year. I need somebody to give me some data that where he's been in a slump in year 6. We don't see that. Okay, so now they can't run the football. Zeke is hurt. Now, they said
Pollard was limited. It was a walkthrough, but he at least walked. I don't know. I was hopeful with that. Go ahead.
Okay. So for me, Skip, I don't see anything special right now. I think the defense is carrying they're carrying the water right now for this football team. I don't see anything special. We saw a lot of creativity early on in the season. We don't really see anything like that now. Run the ball on first down, throw the ball on second and third down. I just don't see. I'm just not as optimistic, and I understand Troy has to be optimistic. But I don't see it. I
don't think he has to be.
Yeah, well, Skip, the thing is, let's be real.
Well, he's been scathing in his criticism.
No, not really. He might be scathing on the criticism of Cowboy. He ain't scathing on the criticism of Dak. And when you do that job, when you have a job like Romo, you have a job like Troy, you have a job like Chris Collinsworth, you have to be really, really particular not to take issue with any particular player because you have those production meetings and those guys won't want to talk to you. But being 100%, the numbers are what they are. Over the last 5 weeks for Dak Prescott. That is slump. You can say, oh, he's in a slump. He playing bad football. Don't say no slump. Call it what it is. See, you and I get to call it what it is up here. Because guess what? We don't have no production meeting where we have to go on the road and ask guys to come sit down and talk to us about tomorrow's game. So I get Troy, his apprehension where he's in a slump. I'm not overly concerned. Guess what? I get to sit up here. I'm concerned, and you should be concerned also, because you look at him since that calf injury, he's been a shell of what he was before that calf injury. That's fact.
What year is this for Patrick Mahomes? 4? We have 4?
Yes.
So he had a slump this year? Yeah. Big one. Bad one.
You know what I just saw a stat? Of the 12 interceptions, 7 of them hit the wide receiver's hands first. So if you take that away, that's 5. He'd be 27-5.
But his numbers have fallen precipitously to the point that you have jumped completely off the Chiefs bandwagon.
Skip, think about what you're saying.
Well, I think by his standards, you have to say he's been in a slump.
Think about what you're saying. A slump from him is from 5,050 touchdowns. Has Dak ever been to that level?
No, but I still think he's been in a slump, or the league's figured him out with the 2 shell or whatever you want to say it is.
5th most touchdowns in the NFL, and they're the number 1 tie for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Okay. He's slumping.
Okay. QBR plummeted this year. It's not even I think it's 10th now.
Where's that?
Right?
23rd.
Okay, he's 23rd. I'll give you that. Okay, back to Troy Aikman. I covered Troy Aikman in Dallas, and I always deeply appreciated his post-game insight. So I love to hear him talk football because he really gets it and can see it and speak it, which a lot of ex-players have a hard time doing. So I loved his point about that. He said, I think offensive football is about momentum and confidence and tempo. I agree with that. And that all can leave you, said Troy. But I also know it can come back pretty quickly. Yep, I agree. If you've done it before, I'm not talking about somebody who hasn't really done it at a high level, because if we look back at Taylor Heineke, he hasn't really done it at a high level, because you look at his stats, he's a gamer, he'll make a play here or there, he can ball control you, but he's never put up huge, gaudy numbers. Dak has put up a whole lot of numbers in this league. So you have seen this offense play at an extremely high level, because it is still, despite his slump, and I don't argue with anything you just said, they are still second in points scored and second in yards gained. And you could say, well, some of the points scored was a la defense. I give you that. Yards gained, second in yards gained, has nothing to do with the defense. So something good has happened at points this year, for stretches this year, that you cannot discount. And by the way, there was that one aberration game. It came out of nowhere. It was the monkey butt powder game, according to Mike McCarthy. He took credit for it. It was Dallas 43, Atlanta 3 at Jerry World. It came out of the blue after the Denver debacle at home. Am I right?
Yes.
43-3 over a Matt Ryan and company who had just beaten New Orleans at New Orleans, when I had respect for New Orleans. You might say you could discount that after what you've seen. But Atlanta won that game 27-25, then came to Dallas and got blown off the field. Matt Ryan on third and fourth down combined was 1 of 13. And we've seen this defense do that to people, because they're the best in the league on third down defense. And if you want to factor in a few fourth downs, you can throw those in too, because they did it to Kirk Cousins and all his weapons up there in Minnesota on that turf with all those weapons, right?
Yeah, but
they
he didn't do that.
1 of 13.
Cooper Rush did that.
Okay. No, but I'm saying the defense did it to Kirk Cousins.
The defense
They held Kirk Cousins to 1 of 13.
Last 6 weeks, they've been.
Okay, I got it. So that day, the offense put up 431 yards against Atlanta. I'm fine with that. But Dak, he threw for almost 300. He was 24 of 31, had a QBR of 94, scaled 0 to 100. That's high. That's obviously his highest of the year. And then lately, he's been in the toilet. And I give you that. But Troy's point is, you've seen it before, and the switch gets flipped pretty quick on offense. If you just come out and get hot-handed, all of a sudden you complete the first 3 or 4 passes, you know the potential is there for explosion.
I want to ask you this, and I want to ask you and Troy this. In the 6 years, when have he flipped the switch and y'all went on this run and did something? See, Mahomes, we've seen Mahomes flip the switch and go win a Super Bowl. We've seen him flip the switch and get to a Super Bowl. So when in 6 years...
Well, that's why Mahomes' slump has been so shocking to me this year.
I mean, he's 10th in QBR.
Okay.
The guy's on pace to throw for about 4,800 yards and 39 touchdowns.
Okay, but the biggest negative story of the year in pro football has been Patrick Mahomes hadn't been Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but Skip.
Although very quietly, they've won 5 in a row.
The thing is that what Patrick Mahomes did is that he pole vaulted over a bar that was so high that nobody had ever jumped. Okay. So now, Skip, if he doesn't get those numbers, it looks like he's a slump. A slump for him. The only 2 people that wouldn't take that Patrick Mahomes numbers right now is Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Everybody else would be gladly happy to have Pat Mahomes numbers. I
got it. Troy's takeaway point is, I just don't feel like this team has yet played a complete game. Atlanta was pretty complete, but the opposition was not up to completeness, right?
You played a complete game against Carolina. You got any respect for Carolina? You played a complete game against Philly. You like Philly?
Okay, that's what Troy's saying here. Okay. I've seen spurts on offense and you've seen a stretch on defense. You see the defense coming to life, that it looks like a defense that could take you a ways in the playoffs. That's why I say I wouldn't be surprised if this team won a couple of playoff games.
But here's the thing. You do realize in the playoffs, you're going to probably have to see the Bucs. You're going to have to see Green Bay. You're going to have to see Stafford. All quarterbacks that are better than your quarterback. So you're telling me that your defense is so good right now that even though Dak is playing the way he is, your defense can carry you with Dak playing like that.
Okay, what if somehow we get Arizona in the first-round game at home? Is that possible?
That's a possibility.
Okay, and they lost a dynamic receiver.
They did.
They lost a game breaker.
Yes.
Who you walk onto the field and you say, we got D-Hop and you don't, right?
That's what made them dynamic. You had D-Hop, Adrian Green is starting to come on, Zach Ertz, Collins. Skip, I was Connor, James Conner. Skip, I did not see this.
I never saw him at Pittsburgh like that.
No, because they didn't use him like that. They just hammer him in there, They throw him the ball a lot.
He is a playmaker.
Yeah.
You can make a case he's been their MVP so far because every game I turn on, he just makes plays all over the field.
Like, when did you learn how to catch the ball like that?
Okay, I give you that. But when you take that big D hop out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just not going to be the same.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay, we're going to see them once, obviously in the regular season coming up in a couple of weeks at Dallas. I believe it's on a Monday. Is it a Monday night? It's a night game.
It's like 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, we got that one. And then who knows if you turn around and had to play them again, could we get them that time? Yeah, I'd say we could. I give you all the other, but I'm just saying potentially. I have seen this team explode on offense, and it's starting to explode on people on defense.
Well, how about this here? You play your best. Okay. The Cowboys played their best. The Packers played their best. The Bucks played their best. The Rams played their best. Who you taking? Who would Troy take? If everybody plays their best on that Sunday, that Saturday, Monday game, they're going to be a Monday night game and wild card weekend, Skip, also. So Sunday, Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If those 3-4 teams play their absolute best, who you taking?
Okay, let's go back to the team I picked to win it all, the Buccaneers.
Yes.
Have I seen one time this year the Bucs defense played like it did down the stretch through the playoffs? I have not yet.
In spots.
So have they already hit their ceiling for this year as a defending champion defense? They all came back to run it back?
Right.
Are they just aging? Have they lost a little bit of their fight and their hunger?
Well, I think they're still hungry, Skip. I just think the thing is people attack you differently. They do different things, and they find out where you're weak at, and they try to stay to that. But you have to give those guys credit because you look at the Indy game. Indy's a pretty good football team.
They are.
And they were down, and Tom and that defense bowled their back, kept them out the end zone.
They will take it away.
Exactly. So my thing is, if everybody, let's just say, because Troy is under the assumption that Dak turns it around, and the Cowboys play their best. But I'm asking if everybody plays their best on a given Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, who you taking?
Okay, who has the best pass rush of all those teams you just mentioned? Dallas does. Okay.
Yes.
So if they play their best, if they are on fire rushing the passer, it's going to level the playing field, man. And if Dak has a Dak day, which he's capable of having, he can throw for 400.
You take it. So that pass rush.
I'm just saying, if you max it out, if they hit on all cylinders on defense and on offense, they're going to be a handful for anybody.
Even if you max it out, Dak can't outplay Brady.
No.
Rodgers.
No.
Or Matthew Stafford. You believe he's slightly better than Stafford?
No, I just think I've seen Dak do it at a high level. I've seen him win a playoff game against Russell Wilson.
Right.
I've seen him play very well at L.A. Against Jared Goff.
Right.
But on big stage games, Dak is capable of coming up clutch. I'm not so sure about Matt Stafford because I don't think he's ever experienced this kind of pressure at all. He's 0-3 in the playoffs for the Lions.
Well, he got an OBJ now. OBJ gets some of that. Get some of that. The OBJ.
Okay, help me out. Is OBJ better than CeeDee Lamb right now? No. Stop.
Is CeeDee Lamb better than Cooper Kupp?
Okay.
Which one of your receivers better than Cooper Kupp?
Okay, well, you just brought up OBJ. You didn't bring up Cooper Kupp.
That's all I need.
Is OBJ better than Amari Cooper? No. Is he better than Michael Gallup? No, he's not.
What? Here's the thing. He doesn't have to be better than any of those guys. He's better than the guy that's going to be covering him. Is he better than the guy? Is he better than Brown? The guy that's going to be covered, is he better than him?
You know what? Anthony Brown is pretty good. You know what? Jordan Lewis is pretty good.
Y'all might call him AB, but he's not that AB. Yeah. So I'll take OBJ over him.
Well, he's about the fourth best receiver for the Rams. I give you that.
You got to guard Cooper Kupp? Diggs, you want Trayvon Diggs to guard Cooper Kupp?
Do you want to see what Micah Parsons might do to Matthew Stafford?
You better. Whitworth got something for him. Haberstein about
he?
Yeah, they'll be back. They got something for him. Stall him out.
No mercy. Celebrate Christmas with a boom. Fox Sports proudly presents a documentary tribute to one of football's most beloved figures. The coach, the broadcaster, the video game, all Madden premieres Christmas Day on Fox. Cannot wait to watch that one. Well, yesterday was a busy day in college football. Deion Sanders got a huge recruiting win as he flipped the nation's top player in Travis Hunter, originally committed to Florida State before changing his decision to join Coach Prime at HBCU Jackson State. Shannon, what does this mean?
Man, it's a great moment. It's a great moment for my good friend, my HOF teammate. We went in the same year in 2011, Skip. It's a great moment for Jackson State. It's a great moment for HBCUs, historically black colleges and university, that they got one of the 2 top players in all of college football, high school football, to go to an HBCU. I'm not shocked because after talking to him over the last 2 weeks, he felt very comfortable that he could get him. He's been talking to him and he feels very comfortable. He's like, I believe I got him. You've been around Deion. I've been around him. I've been around him a lot. I know him very well. We talk all the time. If he gets an opportunity to go sit in someone's home,
I agree.
It's hard to tell him no. Yep. Because, Skip, he has guys on his staff that is coached at the NFL level. So it's not like they're going to some little mom and pop shop. Mm-mm. You know, if you talk cornerbacks, he is it. I mean, what better place to go? I know Coach Saban works with the DBs at Alabama, but he ain't Prime. And if Prime says, well, this is what you need to do and this is why this happened, you listen. He has your undivided attention. So, Skip, do I believe we're about to have a run where, HBCUs get these run of ESPN top 300 guys, Skip? I don't believe that. I do believe that if you can get 1 or 2, 3 a year, that's more than what you were getting. To get a guy at this level, FCS has never gotten a guy in the top 50. HBCUs have never gotten a guy this high, and they got one. The thing that I'm most surprised by and most disappointed by is the criticism that this kid has received by going to Jackson State, Skip. What has happened was, if he had gone to Florida State, if he had gone to Alabama, wherever he chose to go, you wouldn't have heard a peep from some of the people that criticized him. Why would he go there? They don't nearly have the resources that a Florida State or Georgia or this one has. Why do you care? You didn't even know who this kid was until he said no to a PWI, predominantly white institution, and went to an HBCU. So now, Skip, what we're seeing is that power struggle. You're fine. As long as he goes to one of those schools, you're cool with it. Yeah. But I'm glad 11-1. I think they play this week in the Heritage Classic. They play South Carolina State with a chance to go 12-1.
11-1 they are.
He's built something special. He had these guys. His son was, I think, Jerry Rice. He was freshman of the year. And the time was Coach Robinson, Coach of the Year. Doing big things down there. I'm so happy for him and for the HBCUs. But, Skip, I don't believe this is going to start a string. It's not going to be like, Skip, the one and done, they go to Duke or they go to Kentucky. I don't think we're going to see these top players go to HBCUs. But it's nice to know they've gotten one, and hopefully they can get a few more here and there.
So for our younger viewers, I would like to remind everyone that once upon a time, HBCUs were a pro pipeline.
Oh, yeah.
Shannon Sharpe went to an HBCU.
Jerry Rice, Walter Payton, Michael Strahan, Aeneas Williams, Skip, Mel Blood.
Keep going. Steve McNair, Doug Williams.
Before they had integration, that was
Did
all
you say Walter Payton?
Walter Payton, Jackson State. Jackie Slater, blog for him.
Keep
Jackson
on
State.
keeping on. Once upon a time, all the pro scouts said, I got to get down there. I got to see what's happening. I got to try to get on the inside because there is gold to be mined. There are nuggets, right? Okay, so that has slowly faded away because the black kids coming up, and they just said, well, I guess I should go to these Power 5 schools, and Florida State. It's a predominantly white school. It's not a predominantly white football program.
No. Well, most of the programs are.
That's what I'm saying. So the point is, this is a potential return to glory. But I'm with you. I don't know. I thought Tiger Woods in 1997 had just opened the gates wide open, and it just didn't happen. No. We don't see 20 Tigers playing professional golf.
You got a lot more black guys playing casual golf. He brought a lot more of them to the course, but he didn't bring a lot more black players to the golf course.
But I love the choice this young man made because I believe in Deion as a teacher and a mentor.
Kids.
He loves kids.
He does.
Nobody knows how to play cornerback better than this man because he's the greatest cornerback who ever played. And from what I see of the YouTube highlights, and that's all I can go on with Travis Hunter, but you want to talk about special. Listen, he is two-way, man. He can catch it as well. I think we're seeing it right now.
He went to Collins Hill, which is a school in Swanee.
Yeah.
Meyer Moore went to Collins Hill.
Yep. He is an explosive athlete who can play offense just as well as he can play defense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did Mr. Sanders do for my Dallas Cowboys? He went both ways.
Yes.
You know, he again, it wasn't a lot. But
Right.
okay, even in the Super Bowl, he caught some big passes.
He caught the big play.
did.
He caught the big play.
Yeah. Okay. So I give you that. And I think Deion will figure out ways to utilize him on both sides of the ball because, you know, the kid's listed at only 165, but when I watch the highlights, he plays way bigger than 165 to me.
Guess what? I know another guy that just won the Heisman Trophy 2 years ago with 165. Devontae Smith. He doing okay.
Okay. Yeah. And he's strong. He's just naturally strong.
But that's the thing, Skip, is that knowing time like I do Deion Sanders, knowing him like I do, that's what he's always wanted to coach. Ever since he got into coaching, he started coaching his son at high school at Trinity. That's all he's talked about.
And that is rare for a great player because most of them don't want the
I got a patience.
pain of it.
No, I got a patience.
No.
Because, Skip, it bothered me. I'm a professional, and I'm dealing with other professionals. We go over something for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Skip, we walk through it on Saturday. In the first 15 nights before the game, Skip, we put the first 15 plays. These are the plays we're going to run. These are your responsibilities. And I've been damned if somebody don't get out there. You're a professional.
Okay.
So imagine a college kid. I can't do it, Skip. I can't. And for him as Skip, the greater you are, the less patience you have. That's generally how it works, Skip, because he worked hard, but time was just so gifted, Skip. The guy had 4.2 speed. He had tremendous hands. He studied the game, so he sees something. Oh, it was instantaneous. And he tell you throw one his way, say, don't throw it again. Now, if you throw it again, he told Brett Favre, say, you throw that ball out here again, I'm going to do something bad to you. Brett says, I don't believe you. And he high-stepped him in the end zone. So for him to have that kind of patience and says, you know what, I want to teach these kids. And he have a lot of professional athletes come down there and talk to the kids. He have influencers come down there and says, look, okay, every woman that winks at you and say, hey, boy, you fine, they don't mean you well. So he's going above and beyond trying to give these kids not only football skills, life skills.
He will.
Things that's going to help them outside of the game of football if you don't get into that field.
I believe that Travis Hunter will be at least as prepared for pro football as he would have been via Florida State.
No question about it.
At least.
No question.
If not more than.
Skip, if you can play, you can play. Because Walter Payton went to Jackson State. Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley. Steve McNair went to Alcorn. I went to Savannah State.
Too Tall Jones.
Tennessee State. Richard Dent went to Tennessee State.
There you go.
A lot of these guys.
Okay.
Willie Lanier, Malin East, Art Shell.
Did you step on a pro football field and say, I'm overmatched?
No. When I look, Skip, I went to these. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but they're going to induct me to the East-West Shrine game. I remember going to the East-West Shrine game and calling my brother from the hotel room. When I stepped on the field at practice field, I was like, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, better than you, better than you.
Okay.
Call my brother. I said, I'm better than all these bums here.
Savannah State.
All of them. And I said, you know what? Everybody that's in my draft class, I went 7th. I said, but you know what? Y'all get a little more signing bonus. I said, but when we put these helmets and shoulder pads on, we going to see who the best.
Final thought. As a writer at heart myself, I read this full post that this kid posted yesterday.
Yeah.
He can really write. And I'm going to assume he wrote it because it felt like he wrote it. He has writing talent. He has creative gift. I would encourage everybody, we don't have time to read the whole thing here, but I encourage anybody to just go look at his IG post because it's special to me. And he gets it. And for an 18-year-old to have that kind of vision and wisdom was highly impressive to me.
Now all of a sudden everybody cares. Oh, the kid. We want the kid. Stop it. You mad because he didn't go to your program and he went to an HBCU. Oh, like got Dabo out here. Oh, all these kids in transfer portals and they're getting manipulated. We need to get back to education being most important. Skip, when has education been the most important thing in college sports?
It was finally a little bittersweet that Deion stole the kid from his own school, which he loves.
Yeah,
right?
oh, absolutely. And Skip, you see, somebody was burning the man's jersey.
Oh, boy.
Because he stole it. Because come on, man. Really?
That.
You gonna regret that. You wake up like, man, I burnt Deion's number 2.
I've never been around Dion, but every time I listen to you guys talk about him, he just blows me away. I love listening to the guy. I think he's done incredible in the college game, and I just cannot wait to see what he continues to do. Like, I want to meet him. He's just incredible, and I'm excited to see what happens here next.
No mercy.
The Browns will take on the Raiders on Saturday, but they may have to do so without Baker Mayfield and head coach Kevin Stefanski. Cleveland has 18 players on the COVID list between the active roster and practice squad, a number that includes up to 11 starters. And still, Stefanski said he expects his team to go find a way to win. Shannon, do you give the Browns any shot to win this game?
I absolutely give the guys a shot to win this game, Skip. Teams have a tendency to rally in these situations. We saw what happened Monday night, didn't we, Skip? Right before the game, Jalen Ramsey and the running back who's already out, and then you lose your starting right tackle. And Higbee. And the tight end. And everybody was, oh, man, with Kyler back and D-Hop and A.J. Green and Connor. Oh, man, Christian Kirk, Rondell Moore. Oh, yeah, they got this one. They ain't got this one. And so, Skip, considering the way Baker has been playing over the last 5, 6, 7 games, it's not like Case Keenum is a drop-off from the where Baker, because he might be better considering that he's 100% healthy. Now, we know what Case Keenum is. Case Keenum, 1 year, almost threw for 4,000 yards.
He did.
So, for me, they absolutely, now you're probably going to need your defense to play lights out. Now, the Raiders, Skip, they've been in a tailspin. They've lost 5 or 6. They've only won 1 game out of their last 6.
And that would be?
What game was that, Skip? I forget. What game was it?
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too.
Put 33. Was your defense good that day? They gave 33 points to the Raiders. Were they good? Oh, my bad. Okay.
Spurts.
Yeah. So you better hope Nick Chubb can run, get 30 rush attempts, get you 150, 175 yards, and your defense. This is a game. Myles Garrett, you want Defensive Player of the Year? Go out there and get your 2.5, 3.5 sacks.
I'll buy
force
that.
A fumble. Get a couple of hurries when he throws the ball off his back foot, and you got to get a pick. This is your opportunity to go show why you should be Defensive Player of the Year.
I buy that. And for once, Mr. Sharpe, I hope you are so right about this. I believe you're going to be wrong because I give them no shot.
You don't give them any shot?
They have lost up to 11 starters, 22 starts, so half your team is not going to play. Mm-hmm. And there's some big names on this list, starting obviously with the quarterback. I'm a Case Keenum fan. I've always liked him. I've defended him to you on the show because he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he pulled off the Minnesota Miracle and beat Drew Brees in a playoff game up in Minneapolis.
Right.
And that's not that easy to do. Mm-hmm. He did that. And I don't doubt that he'll play. However well he can play, he'll give you on Saturday. Yeah. It's the Saturday game. Mm-hmm. He won't choke. He won't fall apart. He won't unravel. He got bum rushed when they went to Philly. That was a disaster. Yeah. but I think he'll play pretty well. And I'll give you this. I won't be surprised if he plays a little better than Baker's been able to play over the last month, because I do believe he's been beat all to hell. I think he's had 4 things wrong with him, and I think 2 of them are going to require off-season surgery to get fixed. So he's held together with baling wire. He's been wearing a harness on his left shoulder because it's fractured and torn labrum. And yet, could be a godsend if Case could pull this off and you could get Baker a little more time to heal up a little bit, maybe you got a better chance. So maybe this is meant to be. The problem is the point spread has swung 8 points over this. 8 points?
So the
Browns were 6.5, and all of a sudden it went all the way to Raiders by 1.5. You're kidding me. Well, it's too many names. We said Baker, but it's Jarvis is out, Jarvis Landry. Jedrick Wills, the left tackle's out. He's pretty good.
The guard that you just gave a boatload of money to.
Wyatt Teller, he's a Pro Bowl guard. Yeah. Okay. Austin Hooper is gone.
Your tight end, Pro Bowl player.
John Johnson, who you gave a boatload of money to at safety, is out. And then a couple names, the guys you won't know, but Njoku, another tight end, is gone. Troy Hill, that you gave another boatload of money to as a slot corner, is gone. And Tack McKinley, one of your pass rushers, is gone. COVID. It's an outbreak of the highest degree. And we talked about it at length yesterday. Somebody somewhere made one mistake, because all you have to do is make one. And I don't know what that mistake was, but somebody had some contact away from the facility with somebody, where you weren't careful enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't stop it.
Right.
Sometimes it's just meant to be
Yep.
just in the air and you just got burned.
Yep.
But I'm willing to bet somebody made a mistake and was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and then you take that inside
Right.
that facility and 11 starters are
Yeah.
gone. So that's what we're up against. That's what every team is up against.
Yep.
Get your booster shots. If you want to win, if that's your highest priority, you just got to get a booster shot.
Yep.
That's your best way to protect.
It always comes. What does football always come down to? Skip, in any sport, whose health is at the end?
That's it.
Who can put their best players on the field on a given Sunday? On a given day.
Okay.
That's what it's going to come down
All
to.
right, but this is going beyond ACLs and hamstrings
Yes.
and Achilles. This is about COVID.
Right. It's not, Skip. It's not like you're 11-2 and you can afford to give up a game. You're fighting for your playoff lives. Every game from here on out, there's a reason why. Now, moving forward, I think like most teams going to have their three of their last 4 games going to be division games. The
Yep.
NFL structured it like this for a specific reason.
did.
They didn't want you to rest players. Now they might rest, but not for the reasons that you want them to be rested.
Yep.
Because of COVID, it's going to have teams sitting players down because of the COVID situation. You're like, man, if we'd have just, I would not want to look back like, man, if I'd have just had that shot or if I'd have just got that booster, I know if such and such would have played, they could have. We're going to have that discussion. Somebody going to miss the playoff because they missed a game or two, some starters, some key players missed.
You better believe it. That's what it's going to come down to. Got to get your booster. You might not believe in it. Maybe you thought your J&J shot, you got single shot, that was enough.
Yeah.
Nope, it's wearing off.
Yes.
Booster is the only way to rise above this, to survive this. And one team, the last team standing, is going to, I believe it'll be the team that beat COVID the best.
Skip, you and I got what we'd had to do because theoretically, if one of us gets it, we can still do the show from our home. You can't play football from home.
Virtually?
Yeah. You might do some meetings, Skip. You might do everything virtually, but you can't play football on Zoom.
And their head coach is Zooming right now
Yes.
because he's got it.
Exactly.
Okay, well, he can kind of coach during the week. He can Zoom coach.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think you can Zoom coach on Sunday.
No, as a matter of fact, you can't have any contact. You can't call into the stadium.
No.
You can't do any of that.
No.
So,
well, I hope you're right. Go Case, go. Close
how
that
they
case.
handle
I mean, so how bad are the Cowboys? They lose to a team that hadn't won a game in almost 8 weeks.
That's a great question. I don't know.
The Cowboys are the
But it wasn't Micah's fault.
Don't do that. Don't do that. He gave up 30. Was he on that team? They gave up 33?
Yep.
So it's their fault.
But he pulled off a sack that should have won the game.
Well, he should have got
And
a-
then Anthony Brown had
We
it.
weren't
You should've
talking
got
about
the
the
next-
Cowboys.
the next
We
play.
were talking about the Browns. It's weird how you did that there. I don't know. You just
I got to give us a little shot at that Cowboy.
No mercy.
Elite quarterbacks take center stage on Thursday Night Football as Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs take on Justin Herbert and the Chargers at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Well, in a recent poll of former NBA players, Kevin Durant was named both the best player in the league and the most clutch player. LeBron, meanwhile, finished second behind KD in the best player category, but finished a distant fourth in the clutch category of taking the final shot, only garnering 4% of the vote there. So, Shannon, how big of a problem do you have with these results?
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, that's their opinion, but the mere fact that LeBron is second best player in the league in year 19, what the retired players think LeBron James is the second best player in the league in year 19 is just unheard of. And
I will give you that.
That's not a knock.
I'll give you that.
I mean, if I had to take I rank my top 5. I would say Giannis is the best, KD is 2, Steph is 3, Bron is 4, Nikola Jokic is 5. That would be my 5 best players.
LeBron has fallen to fourth on your list?
Yeah. I mean, I think right now he's the 4th best player in the NBA.
That's harshly objective by you.
No, that's it ain't no harsh. It's just being objective. Look, Skip, I think the thing is that what's going unnoticed is that Giannis is still average. Giannis is averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He did knock Kevin Durant out of the playoffs last year with a monster Eastern Conference Finals, and he went to his building. You gave KD the ultimate credit for doing what he did in Game 3 in back-to-back NBA Finals. You said he beat the GOAT in his house. Giannis Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. Greek Freak, went to Brooklyn and did what he did in his house. We just disregard that.
But Kevin Durant had a toenail on the line on a 3 that I thought was a 3.
Oh, no, you didn't. Nobody thought it was a 3 but you.
I thought it was a 3. Okay. I was rolling on the floor. I thought he'd done it again with the clutchest shot I'd seen in a long time since Ray
Did
Allen.
Giannis beat him, though?
He had a lot of help. Chris Middleton made the biggest shot of the game. Drew Holiday was D'ing up on James Harden, who was a shell of himself. It was kind of KD 1-on-5.
What if I told you, and go ahead in game time shots in the final 10 seconds of the playoffs, that's when the pressure is high. Skip Bayless says, don't tell me what a guy does on a Tuesday night in Portland. Don't tell me what a guy does on a Wednesday night in Indiana. Tell me what he does when the money gets shoved to the table in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
In the playoffs, Dame is number one. He's 42% on 5 of 12 shots. Would you believe that LeBron James is number 2, 9 of 23 on 39%? Steph is number 3. Steph is 20%, 2 of 10. Kevin Durant is 19%, 3 of 16. James Harden is 11%, 1 of 9. So this notion that LeBron James isn't clutch is just not true.
Really?
It's just that repetitions of disinformation gets repeated enough and it gets thought of as being true. That's what the numbers say. Now, I don't know, Skip, you're a numbers guy.
I am. I'm about to just lay them all over you.
Put them
I'm about to bury you in
Put them
numbers.
down there.
Okay, let's start with the best player, because clearly, I'll just read what one player said. This is some player from the 70s. No one can guard Durant by himself. Durant's 7 feet tall. Kevin Durant has been better than LeBron for at least 5 years. He proved it in 2 playoffs and never sweated. Okay, well, what am I supposed to say to that? Because, I've been saying that for 4 years.
Can anybody guard Giannis one-on-one? Can anybody guard LeBron? Can anybody guard any of the other superstars one-on-one? If you play in the NBA, you know that. No superstar can guard another superstar one-on-one. So him saying, nobody can guard Kevin Durant, just like nobody can guard Giannis Antetokounmpo, nobody can guard Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid or LeBron James. Stop.
Again and again in the playoffs, I have seen teams build a wall against Giannis and force him to shoot mid-range jump shots.
Is that one-on-one?
He can't make
them. Then why didn't they do that last year?
Okay. Well, Phoenix, you know what my issue with Monty Williams, he just said, no, pride goeth before the fall. I got this. I'm putting my big man on him. My young big man, baby big man, can stop him, and it was a joke in the finals.
Well, the Nets had an opportunity. He wasn't even supposed to be there. If your team would have built that wall, he wouldn't even got the opportunity to do that to the Suns.
I thought Blake Griffin did a pretty good job on him. I really did.
The man averaged 30 and 13.
Okay. Well, again, Kevin Durant was better. Kevin Durant nearly won the whole thing by himself.
No, he did not.
Well, he did. So that's just business as usual to me. Now let's go to clutch, shall we? 118 ex-players. They gave LeBron 4% of the vote and Kevin nearly 50% of the vote on clutchness.
Right.
What player do you want with the ball in his hands for the last shot? Well, maybe they're a prisoner of the moment, because maybe the moments of late. Could we just see what LeBron's been doing just, I don't know, last couple of weeks? Well, just to remind everybody, could we see what happened at Indiana on that fateful night? It wasn't that long ago, because the game is tied. There's the last second shot of regulation, and he missed it badly. The game was tied. Then here we go again against Sacramento into regulation. This is for the win. Nope, not even close. And then at the end of the first overtime against Sacramento, up, and that's for the win. No, it's short again. So that's 3 times in 2 games. And then here we go again one more time. That was last night at Dallas for the win. And he got taken off the hook a la Ray Allen because Porzingis and Kleba couldn't come up with the basketball. So that's 4 times just recently where he had last-second shots and missed. So if you want numbers, I got some numbers for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Since LeBron James entered the league on clutch shots, end-of-game shots, regulation or overtime, LeBron has missed 97 of those. 97 field goal attempts have missed. That's 20 more than second place on the list, which is Dwayne Wade, who's obviously been gone for a number of years. Then on 3-point shots, 3-point misses, and this is actually, we haven't updated this. This was just going into this year, so we saw 4 more just now. But he has missed 47 3-point shots to win games. To win games. Yes. That's actually second on the list since he came into the league, 7 behind, guess who? Russell Westbrook, okay? And then free throws. I've always said he is the worst late game, big game, clutch free throw shooter we've ever seen by a superstar. He's missed 16 free throws to win or tie games late in games, which is 8 more than second place on the list, who is J.R. Smith. Okay. So he's just missed so many. You can cherry pick and get a few here or there.
Let me ask you a question. Show me the game-winning threes that Kevin Durant's hit. Okay, go ahead, roll that footage, Jim.
Okay.
Hold on. You just said LeBron James has missed all these game-winning three-point shots. Now I need you to show me the three-point shots that Kevin Durant has made. I'm waiting, Jim.
I got all kinds of clutch shots that Kevin has made because I saw him the other night. He's playing with 4 rookies against Toronto, and in overtime, as I showed you yesterday, he made 3 straight clutch mid-range shots that just took the game over. And one was to cut it to 2, the next one was to tie, and the next one was to go ahead. He won the game all by himself.
Oh, kind of like what LeBron did when he was in Cleveland, and he took those guys and he went to the Boston Garden for Game 7, and he put the guys on his shoulder, he won that game, or the game-winning shot that he hit against Toronto. Well, what about the one in Chicago? Or what about the one in Indy? Do you want me to go on and on, Skip? But come on. I mean, you got me over here sounding like a record on repeat. I keep going on and over and over. The lyrics are not going to change.
He's made 5 of them, but do we need to start in on the ones he missed? How about the Ray Allen shot? It's LeBron to tie the game, and he LeBricks it, and he got taken off the hook by Ray Allen.
He made 5 in the playoffs. How many Kevin Durant got?
I don't know. I haven't totaled them up. I just know he's made dozens of clutch shots. Do you remember the shot he made in LeBron's grill in Game 3 of the 2017
You see what you did? You see what you did? You mentioned how he made the shot in LeBron's grill, but you won't give Giannis credit for going to his house and beating him.
Well, to me, if the toenail isn't on the line, was that not a clutch shot to win the game?
Hey, yeah. It's a game. It's a game. Hey, in all sports, it's a game of inches. It's a game of inches.
Centimeters.
Okay. I'm just, Skip, look.
Was that not a clutch shot?
See, what you do is that when I think what happens is that when I try to make a compelling case for LeBron is that I'm discarding what Kevin Durant is or what he's accomplished. I am not. Kevin Durant is clutch, but you make it seem that LeBron James is unclutch. It is furthest from the truth. You and some of those players want to erase history. You cannot.
4.3%.
He's done
118 said, yeah, I want the ball in LeBron's hands.
Okay, Skip, look, sometimes it's not always about the shot. And see, that's how you look at it. See,
and that was one quote, an anonymous quote from some ex-player said, I want LeBron to have the ball in his hands because he'll make the right decision. Okay?
But see,
will he take the shot?
But see, Skip, sometimes the right decision isn't the shot for you because this is what you do. If he takes the shot and he misses, he should have passed it. If he passes you just said Kyle Korver was one of the great three-point shooters. Now, when LeBron passed in the ball, Kyle Korver had shot 62% from corner threes. When he passed in the ball, you said, LeBron, you got to take the shot.
Got to take the shot. He's got Iggy one-on-one. Just take the shot. Had Kyle Korver ever taken a shot of that magnitude in a moment like that?
Guess what? Steve Kerr
turn around an NBA Finals.
Steve Kerr had never taken a shot in a moment like that until he took the shot that he took.
Because Michael pulled him aside in the huddle and said, if they come to me, if both of them come to me, you're going to make this shot. And he did.
So that's what he did.
Yeah.
So what about all those other shots? So I guess all those other threes that Steve Kerr missed, Michael didn't tell him he was going to make those, so he missed them.
Probably not. Do you remember LeBron in Game 1 at Oracle against Golden State when I thought they had him on the ropes because LeBron had the hottest hand from distance I'd ever seen him have in a playoff game? And it's a game where you're down 1 and all you got to do is make the shot, take the shot and make it. And you get the switch onto little Steph Curry. 6'3" versus 6'9".
And then you got Kevin Durant and you got Draymond Green right there behind him.
All you got to do is just pull up at about, I'll give you 17 feet. It's just your basic mid-range jumper to win the game or lose the game because now it's do or die.
So Shannon, LeBron James should have pulled up from 17 feet instead of passing the ball to George Hill, who was 4 feet from the basket and got fouled. Mind you, George Hill is an 80% free throw shooter. Really? We find fault in that?
And I'm not being a hypocrite here because I always said on this and other shows, I never liked George Hill when he was a Spur.
That ain't got nothing to do with Skip. He's an NBA. You do realize George Hill is still playing.
Okay, LeBron James or George Hill? I think I want LeBron.
Let me ask you a question. Do you want Kevin Durant from 18 feet or a guy from 4 feet from the basket with a layup? Tell me which one you want.
Who's the guy?
It doesn't matter who the guy. An NBA player. An NBA, starting NBA player. Do you want Kevin Durant from 17 or a guy 3 feet from the basket?
For a layup?
Yes.
Okay, but he didn't have a layup because he immediately got fouled by Klay Thompson.
Thank you.
Okay, so now you're going to make him go make 2 free throws to win the game? 2? He at least made 1. He got you to overtime. And then LeBron went and sat 5 feet from his team.
We saw last year on 3 occasions, Kevin Durant missed shot after shot after shot. He missed a shot, got the rebound, missed it again. They got the rebound, kicked it again. He missed 3 times in regulation. We saw that. That didn't diminish Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is still historically great.
Did you remember the gold medal game, what happened down the stretch? Dame goes to the free throw line to try to ice it, and he goes clank, clank, and KD runs to the other end and says, give me the ball on the inbounds, because he knew what was going to happen. Foul me, let me march to the other end, and he swished both
I got a better question. Why were you in that situation anyway, when you got 11 NBA players and the other team got 4?
Well, what'd you tell me going into the Olympics? They've caught up.
No.
Yeah. They got NBA players, too.
Okay, what player is a top 10 player in the NBA that was on the France team?
And who took over every game when it was time to take it over?
Why would you need to take it over? Those games shouldn't even been close. You got the greatest player on the planet.
International rules, country pride.
Guess what? Hold on. I would think the planet trumps international rules. If I'm the best player on the planet, rules are not applicable to me.
Did he not show you he was the best player on the planet? Did he not prove that? Yep, he did again.
What? It's not a question of how great he is. My problem is not with Kevin Durant's greatness. I've reiterated 1,000 times. If I had 10,000 tongues, I couldn't say how great Kevin Durant is. My problem with you and others that dress like you and look like you and talk like you is that you refuse to acknowledge LeBron James' clutchness. That's what I have a problem with.
Who dresses like me and looks like me?
A lot of people.
Nobody.
Yeah. Even though the man has been doing it for 19 years.
He has been doing it a long time. And I only give you 1 point, that for him to be second on that list of best player in year 19, that's impressive.
We'll leave it at that.
Not to me, because I knew he was.
No mercy.
Micah Parsons has been compared to Lawrence Taylor a lot recently, but the Cowboys rookie is staying humble, saying, quote, I could see the similarities, but LT was completely different, man. It's an honor that people are doing that, but to be compared to a Hall of Famer so early on, it's just not ready to be in the conversation yet. Dallas will face LT's former team, the Giants, this weekend, who have been praising Parsons all week. However, New York fans are also being reminded that they had the chance to draft Micah this offseason, but they traded out of the pick instead. New York fans. Shannon, do you see any Lawrence Taylor and Micah Parsons?
I don't.
0.
I see 0.
Really?
Because he's not as complete as LT. LT can stop the run. Now, this is what I'm going to need to see before he becomes LT. I'm going to need somebody in that division to completely change their offense to deal with this kid. Because Washington, Joe Gibbs completely revamped his offense. He added an H-back specifically to deal with that guy. In Lawrence Taylor's first 10 years in the league, this is what he did. I don't know if people realize this. He was an 8-time first-team All-Pro. He was a 2-time second-team All-Pro. He was a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He won a league MVP, the awards that quarterbacks get. He won that.
He did?
With 2 Super Bowls. That's what he did. And he made everybody, if you did not have a left tackle, you better go get them. He made the Bears. He made Minnesota. He made 49ers. He made all those teams go draft left tackles to deal with him. He was as complete. He's universally regarded as the greatest defensive player that's ever played the game of football. You can make a case because guess what? That guy exists because of that guy on the right, Skip. The Von Millers, the T.J. Watt, because of him. The Derek Thomases, because of him.
Yep.
Skip, this kid, look, he's tremendous. Skip, I thought he could be, I told you he's going to be a defensive rookie then. I thought he had an outside chance to be the best player. He even exceeded the expectations I had for him in his rookie season.
Yep.
But can you imagine? LT got the number of sacks that he got. The league average now is that they throw the ball 56% of the time. The Bucks throw it 66% of the time. You know when LT played, you played defense and you ran the football. They threw the ball on third down, they threw the ball at the end of the half, and they threw the ball you used behind the ball game. Can you imagine the sacks he would have, or Reggie, or Bruce would have, if they threw the ball 56% of the time when LT played? Micah Parsons is tremendous. I believe he's going to have a promising career. But we got to stop this, Skip. We have got to stop this with LT. People don't realize just how great and dominant this man was. Skip, I know he's had some off-the-field issues, but Skip, on the field, you come. If you're a Cowboys fan, you know what that man represents. And if you watch football from when he came in the league in the 81 until I'm just gonna say from 81 to 90. If you watch anything, if you can honestly say that's not the greatest defensive player and one of the 2 or 3 greatest players that's ever played, I don't know what you're watching.
Okay. I give you greatest defensive player I ever saw was that guy. Deion Sanders is somewhere up in that realm, but he played cornerback versus pass rush.
Yes.
They're both extremely important, but a slightly more important position is what he did.
Yeah, it's like I could throw. You know what? I ain't gonna even throw at you today, Deion. How do you avoid him if you drop back the pass? Because he coming. So
obviously, he was more physical than I think Micah will ever be.
Yeah.
He was nastier than I've ever seen any flash from Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is a sweet kid. He's got like a nice nature. He's a happy-go-lucky kid. This guy was a bad you-know-what.
He was.
I mean, the baddest.
He was, okay. Skip. He was.
All right. He was physically stronger than I think Micah will get. But remember, Micah's only 22 years of age, but he's a little more slender built than LT was. LT packed a wallop.
Yeah. They're about the same size. I think LT was probably 6'3", 245, 250-ish.
But he was put together.
Oh, he
had natural, raw strength.
He wasn't no muscle strength. He wasn't Skip. He wasn't no bench in the getting weight room, squat 600, bench 500.
No.
He was just a grown man.
Okay. But I'm not going to go all the way to blasphemous with the comparisons because Micah Parsons has shown me some bursts that I say, okay, at least it's in the ballpark of a 22-year-old. It's hard to remember the 22-year-old Lawrence Taylor.
He only had 9.5 sacks.
Right. But he was that guy. You could see it right away. You knew he was that guy.
Yeah.
So is 11 from heaven. You can see he's that guy. I will just give him this. His closing burst, his suddenness is right there with LT's and might even be a little better because he is definitely overall faster than 56.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. His foot speed,
so
absolutely.
When Joe Judge was raving about him, which I'm sure makes Giants fans sick because they did have a chance to take him. You'd have to see him coming. You'd have to know but they traded out because they were going to get a high pick next year. Right. So next year they're going to have like now I think today it would be the 5th and 6th pick in the draft next year. Okay, so maybe if you cash that, you can come back and say, well, we did this.
Well, you better cash because he might not be.
Hey. Okay, so what is Joe Judge saying about Micah Parsons? He said, coming out of college, we knew what we had. We had this guy around the building, a lot of respect for him, knew he was going to be great, blah, blah, blah. They're using him in different spots right now, and they're doing a really good job of matching him up and letting him play to his pass rush skill set and playing coverage to his speed. Okay, that's what I hate about this. Right. But what a rival coach is saying, my God, looking at the tape, they drop him back. He's played quarters before against the wide receivers, and he went down the field that night on Thursday night at New Orleans on Kenny Stills and breaks up a pass that was down at the 5-yard line, a ball that was thrown 35 or 40 yards in the air. Right. Okay, well, 56 didn't do that because they wouldn't have even thought about it because
he dropped hook to flat. He wasn't covering. He wasn't covering the guy on the 7 router up the seam, anything like that. He was mainly a 3-4, mainly hook to flat guy.
He stopped the run cold on that side, and he rushed the passer. And they didn't throw that much.
But you had to, Skip. He played. LT was a 3-4. Yeah. And a 3-4 defense, you got to be able to put what we call button press. Yep. That means you butt the guy, lock him out, but you got to keep your outside arm free because you can't give up the edge.
You have to hold the edge. You have to set it and hold it.
You ain't going nowhere with
against a player who's going to be bigger and more powerful than you are, but it just didn't matter because he's just too athletic for him and too nasty. Okay? So they're to me, criminally misusing Micah,
So
because
you
to
just
me,
wanted
he's
to
just
rush
a
all the
pass
time, Skip. You don't
Okay.
want to drop it cover. You don't want to drop hood to flat. You don't want to take the curl. You don't want to take nothing.
All I
Just
know-
rush like 60 snaps, rush 60 times.
All I know is that Pro Football Focus, your favorite website, graded him the number one edge rusher in pro football because they only have X number of plays to grade. Right. So they grade him, and the score comes out higher than T.J. Watt and higher than Myles Garrett.
But Skip, even Tom Brady, as great as Tom is, Tom doesn't throw the ball every time.
I don't know. We're getting there. It feels like it.
Skip, they
50.
He threw 50, but they got 75 plays. Can you imagine if Tom Brady threw the ball 75 times? You got to let the guy. Get a guy a break. His break is dropping hook to flat or take the seam occasionally. Okay. That's his break.
Okay. Well, I'm still okay that I see early LT.
Skip, we saw this. Skip, I don't know if you remember this, but DT was the same way. Derek Thomas could close on the quarterback. Von Miller closed on the quarterback. I don't know, Javon Curse in 99.
No.
Go back and check out his rookie season. They called him the freak for a reason. They lined him up everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Either way, I think it's a good sign. I liked Micah's comments, though. The rookie is staying.
I like his comments, too.
No mercy. The Lakers improved to 16-13 with their wild overtime win last night and now sit in sixth place in the crowded Western Conference playoff picture. However, LeBron's squad is still 7.5 games out of first place and only sit 1.5 games ahead of the 7th seed, where they'd have to do the play-in tournament yet again. So, Shannon, after what you've seen so far, what percentage shot do you give the Lakers of winning the West?
15. Because right now, they're not as good as Golden State. They're not as good as Phoenix. They're not as good as the Utah Jazz. Watched Utah last night. They can still rain threes on you. Donovan Mitchell is taking his game up to another level. Even Rudy Gobert now is 18-15.
I agree.
So they're not there. Skip, they just have too many issues to come out of the West currently as we speak. They turn the ball over entirely too much. The defense is an issue. Even though Russ has played well, I think now AD seems to be more of a problem than Russ. Because some nights I just don't get it. I don't know how a guy at 6'10.5" with his skill set has almost as many fouls as points and more turnovers as points in the first half of basketball. I just don't see how that's possible. And sometimes I watch him and I'm like, AD, you do realize there's a game going on. I mean, you're in the game. They're counting on you. You're supposed to be like giving Bron a break in these situations. So as later in the season in playoffs, Bron can pick it up. But when you look at the turnovers, you look at the defensive issues, AD hadn't played like himself. No, right now, 15%.
I'm going to muster up a 10%, just out of respect to LeBron James, because he is playing at a very high level in year 19 as he approaches age 42. No, what is it?
37.
37.
You saw the ups, though.
I give you that. He can't sustain it for 4 quarters and an overtime, but he gives you some bursts, especially in the first half, that set tone for some games that they can win. But I keep looking at it and I say, Anthony Davis? Most people would say top 5 player. Are you going to just suddenly kick it in and we're going to suddenly say, oh, there he was?
No, Skip, right? we can't do that because guess why? We've got 10 years of film and tape and evidence that says Anthony Davis just can't kick it in. At this point in time, he is what he is.
Okay, Russ is doing about the best he can do.
Right.
I don't like the fit. I say it'll.
I don't like the fit. But Skip, we got to give him credit though. He's going to turn the ball over. But I think he's taking less bad shots.
Okay, you still don't have a reason. You don't have Kendrick Nunn. You've had some COVID issues. But think about this. I look at the 16 wins you have, and I can't find a signature where I say, aha, there I saw it. Because every game that you won, Miami without Jimmy Butler, right? Luka last night out. I can keep going all down the list. They're all flawed. Jaylen Brown didn't play the night at Staples. Would you realize or believe that the 16 wins came against teams that are now 56 games under 500, minus 56?
Yeah, that's why. Because we beat them. They're going to keep them there, too.
So they counted, when you beat them, it counted like 10 losses?
No, they don't count that.
Minus 56, under 500 are the teams that you have beaten, the 16 teams. Now, check this out. You have now played the easiest schedule in the Western Conference so far. You've had like 2/3 of the games at home.
Oh, we had no 2/3.
And would you believe your remaining schedule, fittingly, is the hardest in the NBA, not the West, in the NBA. You're about to play the hardest remaining schedule in the National Basketball Association. with a 37-year-old LeBron James.
And that's what's concerning is because you're asking LeBron to be this LeBron just to keep you out of the play-in tournament. And it shouldn't have to be this way. Anthony Davis should be carrying more of this weight. Russell should be carrying more of this weight. LeBron should be able to go out there and play 30 minutes, get you 24 points, 25 points, and shut it down. But he can't. He has to still do everything in order for these teams to win, for this team to win a game.
Yeah.
Golden State, Phoenix, Utah.
Far from their best right now, guys. No mercy. To a new ranking yesterday, Texas A&M has moved ahead. Alabama with the best recruiting class so far. This must add insult to injury for Crimson Tide fans. Shannon, as the Aggies also handed Bama their only loss of the season this year. Shannon, does this show Nick Saban is no longer king of the SEC?
Since Skip, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I haven't spoken.
Since Jimbo Fisher's been the head coach of Texas A&M, Nick Saban has 13 first-round draft picks. Jimbo Fisher has 0. Now, they're both playing on New Year's Eve. But one guy is playing at 8 a.m. in the morning West Coast time, and the other guy is playing at 5:30 p.m. West Coast time. You tell me who's the king of the SEC.
Okay, I know a lot of people in and around that Texas A&M program. They got deep pockets and the deepest school pride. And with that NIL window open now, you can get deals for these kids. And I think Alabama's getting outbid.
No, they're getting outbid, but that don't mean you're going to be the king on the field.
I don't know.
What Nick Saban playing for?
Well, we're going to see more, Bama. They are not done.
You better get some first-round picks.
Tomorrow with more. The Herd is on next. Have a good day, everyone.